You know, usually when we look at true crime, there are these very clear lanes. You have the victim, you have the predator.
Right.
But the story we're covering today, it completely ignores those lanes. It's more like a head-on collision between two predators.
It really is. It's so rare to find a case that feels this. Well, almost scripted by fate. We're talking about a scenario from 1944 where a hitchhiker who is actively hunting drivers gets picked up by a driver who is a serial killer hunting hitchhikers.
It's the ultimate irony, a complete fatal stalemate.
Exactly. And today we're diving deep into the story of Jo Ardway. This isn't just a crime story. It's a perfect case study in what criminologists call the victim-offender overlap.
The victim-offender overlap. Okay, let's unpack that a little bit before we get into her story.
Sure. It's a theory that suggests victims and offenders often share similar characteristics, similar social circles.
Yeah.
And they inhabit the same dangerous environments. In this case, they literally end up in the same car. And Jo Ardway is not your typical damsel in distress. The sources literally call her a roadside murderess. But to understand how a 19-year-old girl gets here, we have to look at the psychology of her delusion.
And that's our mission today, isn't it? To unpack this tragic, almost Shakespearean irony of Jo Ardway's life. How does an abandoned kid construct a fantasy so strong that it turns her into a predator?
And what happens when that predator runs into someone even worse? It's a story about the thin line between survival and, pure villainy.
So let's start at the beginning. We're in South Carolina. Jo's origin story is, well, it's bleak.
Bleak is putting it very lightly. Her mother was a burlesque performer traveling up and down the East Coast, and Jo spent her first 6 years in that chaotic backstage world. Then at age 6, she's just dropped in an orphanage. Her mother drives away and never comes back.
That is classic abandonment. But what's so striking in the research is how Jo reacted to it. Most kids would be devastated, right? But Jo, she did the opposite. She became a storyteller.
Exactly. And this is where we see the seeds of her entire pathology. She refused to accept the reality of being discarded. Instead, she built this entire myth, a fantasy world where her mother was this huge celebrity, a beloved star who was just away on tour and would one day return for her.
She kept that lie going for 13 years.
For 13 years. It's a defense mechanism, If she accepts the truth, she's just another orphan. But if she believes a lie, she's a princess waiting for her queen.
But by 1944, she's 19. The fantasy isn't enough anymore.
Right. She needs to make it real, so she tells her friends this huge lie, "Mother has sent for me."
Which, of course, was not true at all, but she commits to it. She packs the tiny suitcase, scrapes together $12, and gets on a bus to New York to find a woman who probably hasn't even thought of her in a decade.
And this is where that fantasy world just slams right into reality. The plan was doomed from the start. She gets to a layover in North Carolina, steps off the bus for a minute, and a pickpocket snags her purse. Money, ticket, everything gone.
Yeah. Okay, so this is the moment. This is the pivot point for her entire life, isn't it?
Absolutely. A more rational person might have tried to go home. But Jo, she refused. The sources say she was just furious that her dream was ending before it even began. She wasn't going back to being a nobody.
So instead of asking for help, she starts watching people. She sees a woman dropping a man off, they're kissing goodbye, and a light bulb goes off.
A very dark light bulb. She flags the woman down and just turns on the charm, puts on this innocent act, lying through her teeth about needing to see her beau before he ships off to war.
And it works.
Like a charm. She uses the war, the driver's emotions, she gets a ride to a roadhouse, and even a $5 bill. She learns a lesson right then and there. Manipulation works.
But $5 won't get her to New York. So she walks into this roadhouse. It's described as dimly lit, sketchy.
And almost immediately, a drunk guy grabs her, asking if she's looking for company. And this is where Jo stops being the victim of circumstance and becomes the predator.
She realizes she can trade on his assumptions.
Yes. She starts using what psychologists call instrumental aggression.
Instrumental aggression. Break that down for us.
It means using violence or manipulation as a tool, a means to an end, not just an emotional outburst. She doesn't want to hurt this guy because she hates him. She wants to hurt him because he has a car and some money, and she needs those things.
So she agrees to go with him.
Just to get a ride north. And this is where she develops her MO, her signature move. She buys a cold bottle of beer.
A cold bottle.
She gets in the car with this guy. He's fumbling around, calling her doll. She's just waiting. She knows he's too drunk to drive very far. She waits for him to start nodding off, then suggests they pull over for a break.
Using his own predatory nature against him.
Perfectly. They pull over. She suggests they relax under a tree. He staggers out into the grass, and before he can even react, she hits him from behind with that full beer bottle, knocks him out cold.
And her reaction isn't horror or guilt.
No. Her reaction is to rifle through his pockets, find $75, and she says to herself, easy as pie.
Easy as pie. That's chilling. She leaves him there and just gets back on the road.
And the escalation from there is incredibly fast. The next ride she flags down is a young guy in a nice Ford. This time, she spins the whole mother in show business story. She's refining her technique.
And she's getting bolder, too. She gets this guy to stop at a diner. They eat, they dance. She's playing the part. Then she pulls the lost purse scam.
Right. She pretends she lost her purse in his car to lure him outside, alone.
Pure bait.
He goes out to his car to look for it, leans inside, and she just slugs him in the back of the head with another bottle.
And there's a detail here in the source material that really shows you her state of mind. After she knocks him out, she shoves his bleeding body across the seat to find his wallet, finds $50. And then, before she drives off, she takes out her compact to fix her lipstick, and she literally thinks, taking down full-grown men takes a toll on a girl's makeup.
That is the definition of psychopathy. There is zero empathy. These men aren't people to her. They're just resources, obstacles between her and this fantasy mother in New York.
So now she's got cash, she's confident, she feels totally unstoppable, she's back on the highway, and this is where the universe decides to play a very, very dark joke on her. She flags down a big, brown Oldsmobile.
Driven by an older gentleman, Harry Brown. And on the surface, he seems like the safest one yet. He actually warns her. He says, a girl like you shouldn't be out here hitching rides.
The dramatic irony is just off the charts. He thinks he's the predator in the car. She knows she's the predator in the car.
It's this silent power struggle, and neither of them knows what the other one is capable of. He plays the part of this kindly traveling salesman, even wearing a green scarf he claims to sell.
But then the car gets a flat tire. He pulls over to change it and asks Jo to hold the flashlight. He's down on the ground, vulnerable.
And she sees her chance. She literally giggles to herself. She doesn't use a beer bottle this time, probably because the tire iron was right there.
Yeah.
She cracks him over the head.
Knocks him out, face down in the mud. She robs him, $60, his keys, and she decides to take his suitcase full of scarves. She figures, hey, free merchandise.
She leaves him for dead and hitches her next ride with a truck driver. And this trucker, with no idea what he's doing, delivers the single most important piece of information in her life.
He warns her there's a serial killer on the loose, a guy who strangles female hitchhikers.
And Jo just sort of shrugs it off. She thinks she can handle herself. She gets to New York, rents a room in the garment district, and finally opens up Harry Brown's suitcase.
Expecting to find scarves to sell.
And she does find them. But underneath the scarves, she finds the truth. There's a business card, Harry Brown, kerchief salesman. And there are newspaper clippings.
No.
Headlines like, mysterious killer claims new victim.
So she realizes the nice old man she just brained on the side of the road,
Yeah.
he's the serial killer.
He's the one. Now, a normal person, even a hardened criminal, might panic. They might run. What does Jo do?
She laughs.
She laughs. Because in her mind, she won. She thinks Harry Brown was sizing her up as a victim, and she beat him to the punch. Her arrogance is at an all-time high.
So she doesn't just run, she decides to blackmail him.
This is where her delusion becomes absolutely fatal. She finds the number on his card and calls him. She says, I have your scarves, the ones you use to strangle girls. And she demands $5,000.
The sheer nerve of that. To blackmail a known serial killer.
She treats him like he's just another mark. She sets up a drop at a diner dumpster, tells him if he doesn't show, the police get everything.
And the drop happens. She watches from across the street, sees him leave the bag. She waits.
Retrieves the money, and she walks back to her boarding house feeling like the queen of New York City. But she made a massive, massive mistake.
She underestimated him.
Completely. She assumed he was afraid of her. But Harry Brown isn't just another drunk guy in a roadhouse. He's a predator, too. He didn't just leave. He watched her. He followed her.
She gets back to her room, and the phone rings. It's him.
Calling from the pharmacy downstairs. And he says, you are a silly girl. Did you really think I would just leave without my scarves?
The blood must have run cold. The hunter is now the hunted.
She tries to act tough. She hangs up, but she knows. He's coming for her.
But she still doesn't run. She grabs a pistol she bought when she got to the city, and she aims it at the door, waiting.
It's a classic tactical error.
Yeah.
She's so focused on the front door, on the direct assault, that she completely forgets to check her surroundings.
She's waiting, aiming at the door, but then a whisper. from right behind her.
Red is such a garish color, but it looks good on you, dear.
Chills, absolute chills. He came in through the window.
Up the fire escape. And before she can turn, he wraps the red scarf she's wearing around her own neck.
Yeah.
And he's taunting her as he tightens it.
It's horrifying. She struggles, she's fighting for her life, and in that struggle, she drops the gun.
And this is the final, chaotic, impossible twist of fate. The gun hits the floorboard.
And it goes off.
It misfires. A single shot. As she's losing consciousness, that one bullet flies up and strikes Harry Brown directly in the left eye.
It kills him instantly.
Instantly, he collapses right on top of her.
So he's dead, but his body weight is finishing the job he started.
Essentially, yes. They're found in a heap on the floor. Jo, strangled by the serial killer she robbed, and Harry, shot by the robber he's in the middle of strangling.
They took each other out.
A perfect stalemate of violence. The sources call it a mutually assured destruction. Destiny just decreed that they would both end their lives as victims.
It's just incredible. She came to New York chasing this fantasy of a mother who didn't want her, and she ended up becoming a monster herself, only to die in a room with an even bigger one.
It really shows you the destructive power of that initial delusion. Her absolute refusal to accept her reality, that she was abandoned and vulnerable. It led her to build a persona that was invincible. But it was a fake invincibility.
It brings up such a heavy question. You know, for anyone listening, we all like to think we're in control. But you look at Jo's life. Was her path set the moment her mother drove away from that orphanage?
Or was it the moment she decided to pick up that first beer bottle? At what point does a survival mechanism become a death sentence?
Something to think about. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us into the twisted story of Jo Ardway.
Until next time, stay safe out there.